I've always been a curious guy, the kind who'd poke around in places they probably shouldn't. Growing up, I was that kid taking apart radios just to see how they worked, or sneaking into abandoned buildings with my friend to explore. So when I first heard about the dark web in college, it was like a siren call. A hidden part of the internet accessible only with special software, full of secrets and forbidden things. I was hooked before I even knew what I was getting myself into. My name's Ethan, not my real name, and this is the story of how my curiosity almost got me killed. It started innocently enough. I was 22, a computer science major, sharing a cramped apartment with my roommate, Jake, also not his real name. He was the one who first told me about the dark web late one night over some cheap pizza and beer. It's not all illegal stuff. There's a forum, markets, even libraries. But yeah, you gotta be careful. Some corners of it are quite messed up. That curiosity was all I needed. So I downloaded Tor, the browser that lets you access the dark web. At first it was just a thrill. I poked around in forums where people discussed everything, from cryptocurrency to conspiracy theories. I found sites selling weird stuff, vintage coins, rare books, nothing too wild. It felt like exploring a secret city, one where the rules of the regular internet didn't apply. I told myself I was just browsing, satisfying my curiosity, but deep down I knew I was looking for something more. A few months in, I stumbled across a forum called The Vault. It was buried deep in a chain of links, the kind of place you don't find unless you're looking hard. The posts were cryptic, written in a mix of slang and code, and I didn't fully understand. People were talking about packages and drops, with usernames like Shadowboxer and Nullpoint. I figured it was just hackers flexing, maybe trading pirated software or something along those lines. But one thread really caught my eye. Live access auction. I clicked. The post was simple. A string of numbers and a date and a starting bid of 0.5 bitcoins, which was around $2,000 at the time. No description, no details, just a timer counting down. I didn't know what live access meant, but the secrecy of it, the idea that this was something exclusive, got under my skin. I bookmarked the thread and kept checking back. Over the next week, the bids climbed up. By the time the auction closed, it was around 3 bitcoins, which is over $12,000. Someone had paid that much for what exactly? I messaged one of the forum mods, a user called Gatekeeper, asking for details. I didn't expect a response, but a day later, I got a private message. Curious, huh? Meet me in the chat room at 11 UTC. Bring your wallet. I should have backed off right then, but I didn't. I was too deep in the thrill of it, the feeling of being on the edge of something dangerous and unknown. I joined the chat room at the appointed time, my heart pounding as I typed. Gatekeeper was already there. You want in on the next auction? What's it for? My fingers were trembling. Access to a live feed, real time, unfiltered. You will see when you win. See what? Everything. I pressed for more, but they just wouldn't budge. They told me the next auction was in 3 days and sent me a Bitcoin address to send a deposit to prove I was serious. It was only 0.1 BTC, which is around $400, but it was still a lot for a broke college kid like me. I hesitated in the beginning, but the mystery was eating me alive. I scraped together the money from savings and sent it over. 3 days later, I was in the auction. It was intense, bids flying in from users with names like Bloodcipher and Voidwalker. I had no business being there, but I kept going, driven by some mix of adrenaline and stupidity. I ended up winning with a bid of 1.2 bitcoins, nearly $5,000. I had to borrow money from Jake to cover it, promising to pay him back. He thought I was crazy, but didn't ask too many questions. The moment I won, Gatekeeper sent me a link, a one-time password. Login at 2 o'clock UTC. Don't share with anyone. Now you're one of us. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept imagining what I'd see. A hacker's live feed, maybe, or some kind of underground fight club. Part of me knew it could be worse, but I pushed that thought down. At 2 o'clock, I opened my laptop and connected to Tor, and clicked the link. The page loaded slowly, a black screen with a single video player. I entered the password, and the feed started. At first, it was just a dark room, barely lit by a flickering bulb. I could make out a chair in the center and some kind of a metal table in the background. A figure walked into the frame, their face obscured by a hood. They were dragging something. No, someone. A person, bound and gagged, their eyes wide with terror. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a game. This wasn't hackers showing off. This was real. The hooded figure didn't speak. They positioned the person, a woman, maybe in her 20s, in the chair securing her wrists with a zip tie. She was crying, muffled sounds coming through the gag. The figure stepped out of frame and for a moment, nothing happened. Then text appeared on my screen. What do you want to see? A chat window popped up next to the video and I could see other users typing their messages. Make her scream. Start with the knife. Burn her. I felt bile rise in my throat. I wanted to close the laptop, but I could not move. It felt like I was paralyzed watching this nightmare happen right in front of me. The hooded figure reappeared holding a knife. They held it up to the camera as if showing it off, then turned to the woman. She thrashed against the restraints, her muffled screams filling the room. I slammed the laptop shut. My hands were shaking, and my heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. The image of that woman burned in my mind. What the hell did I just do? Is this what I paid all that money for? Question after question kept rising in my mind, and I could not sleep throughout that night. I kept thinking about her, wondering if she was still alive, if there was anything I could do. I thought about going to the police, but what would I say? I just spent $5,000 to watch something illegal on a hidden corner of the internet. I'd basically be implicating myself. And worse, I didn't even know where this was happening. The dark web was anonymous. There were no names, no locations, no way of tracing anything. The next day I tried to act normal. I went to class, nodded along to Jake's jokes, but inside, I was falling apart. I kept checking the forum, hoping for some clue, some way to make sense of it. There was nothing about the auction or feed, just more cryptic posts about packages and drops. I messaged Gatekeeper demanding answers. They didn't respond. That night, I got a new message. It wasn't from Gatekeeper, it was from a user called Watcher. The message was short. You didn't stay for the show. Don't waste our time again. This time I was really scared. How did they know I'd closed the feed? Were they tracking me? I thought I was being careful. I used Tor, a VPN, never shared my real name. But the dark web wasn't just a place. It was a network of people. And I think I just pissed off the wrong ones. Over the next few days, things got weird. My laptop started acting up, with random pop-ups, files moving around, programs opening on their own, and all kinds of things happening that I wasn't doing. I told myself it was a virus, but deep down, I knew exactly what it was. Then one night, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer, but a voicemail appeared a minute later. It was just static at first. Then a voice, which was very low and distorted, and almost inhumane. You shouldn't have looked. We see you. Ethan. They knew my name. My real name. I unplugged my laptop, packed a bag, and crashed at Jake's girlfriend's place for a few days. I didn't tell him everything, just enough to explain why I was freaking out. He thought I was being paranoid, but he let me stay. I ditched my old laptop and bought a cheap burner phone, trying to cut out any digital ties to that forum, but the fear didn't go away. I kept looking over my shoulder, convinced someone was following me. I'd see the same car parked outside my classes, the same guy in a hoodie lingering at the coffee shop. A week later, I got an email. Not on my main account, but on a throwaway I'd used to sign up for the forum. It was a single line: "You can't run from us." Attached was a photo of me, taken from across the street outside my apartment. This is when I went to the police. I didn't tell them everything, just that I thought I was being stalked. They took a report, but I could tell they didn't take it seriously. Probably just a prank. Stay off the internet for a while. I wanted to scream. They didn't understand what I've gotten myself into. But because I was desperate, I reached out to a guy I knew from my computer science class, a hacker type named Marcus. He was the kind of person who knew more about the dark web than he let on. I met him at the diner, away from the campus, and spilled everything. He listened quietly, but his face was completely unreadable. "You're lucky you're still breathing," he said when I finished. "The dark web isn't just a playground. There are people in there who'd kill you for less than what you did. You didn't just watch. You bid, you paid, and you got involved." "What do I do now?" as my voice barely came out. "First, you need to disappear online. Wipe everything. Your accounts, your profiles, anything tied to you. Get a new laptop, new phone, new everything. Don't use Tor again. Ever. And don't go back to your apartment. If they know where you live, you're not safe." I had to follow his advice, so I moved out, crashing with a friend in another city. And I got a new laptop, a new phone, and stayed off the internet as much as I could. But the fear still did not go away. Every creak in the house and every shadow I saw outside made me jump. I kept thinking about the woman in the chair, wondering if she was still alive, if I could have done something to help her, and I didn't. Months have now passed and the messages have stopped. The car outside my apartment was gone. I've not seen the guy with the hoodie for a while now. I started to think maybe that's it, I've escaped, that I've outrun the people on the dark web. But then one night, I got a text on my new phone, a number I hadn't given to anyone. It was a video file. I didn't want to open it, but I could not stop myself. It was her, the woman from the feed. She was barely alive, sitting in that same chair. The hooded figure was there too, holding a knife to her throat. Text appeared on the screen: "You owe us." I deleted the video straight away and smashed my phone. That was 6 months ago. I've moved twice since then, changed my name, and stayed completely offline. I don't know if they're still looking for me, but I know they haven't forgotten. The dark web isn't just a place, it's a trap. One that doesn't let go once you're in. I thought I was just exploring, chasing a thrill, but I wasn't the hunter, I was the prey. And to this day I'm still paranoid and still running.